You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
We're live.
I said, hey, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and smoke a really fine cigar.
It is time for happy hour. It is the Man Cave Happy Hour. Whiskey, cigars, spirits, the stories that go along with it. I'm Jamie Flanagan.
Hey, I'm Matt Fox.
And we are we're on our own decks.
There's a bunch of decks hanging out. Yes.
That is it. We are socially distant and having a party. And today we're not lying because we actually do have cigars. Well, most of the times it's not cigars, but today there is cigars and there's spirits. Matt, what do we got in the beautiful blue bottles?
We have something very special happening in the Man Cave today. We have a number of guests with us in the Man Cave. On the Man Cave, we have Mr. Adam von Gootkin from Highclere Castle Gin, and we're gonna talk to him a little bit about their launch in the United States in August of last year. They launched in the UK in 2017, and we're going to get a little bit of the backstory of the gin itself and where it came from, and we're going to have a great, fun conversation and just learn the story because everything starts with a great story. We also have Ethan Allen here with us as well. Ethan is actually a friend or the brother of one of my coworkers, and Ethan, thank you for the introduction to Adam. Cannot thank you enough for helping us put this together.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And then also Rob Grimaldi is with us as well. Rob is one of the distributors. Am I correct in that, Rob?
No, I drink too much of the product to be a distributor. So I am
Well
a friend
said.
of the brand and an advisor.
Rob is an advisor to us and a very, very dear friend of the brand.
Okay, so you distribute advice. All right, fair enough.
Distributes advice. It consumes the product.
Excellent. Yeah, and Highclere Castle Gin. A lot of folks may know of Highclere Castle because of there's a popular TV show and a movie that was made, and everyone talks about it as Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey,
yeah, Downton, and that's where they do a lot of the filming, or pretty much all the filming for the show itself is at Highclere Castle itself. So we may talk and dab a little bit in there as well, and just pick your brain a little bit, Adam. But we got a lot of things to talk about. And Jamie, I want you to ask the first question of the day because this is the question that the Man Cave has become famous for now. So, Jamie,
Adam! Oh my God,
Yeah.
Adam! One, I love the room.
Yeah.
Your backdrop there is amazing. But Adam,
Not a bad man cave.
tell me about your childhood.
Childhood. Yes, that's an interesting one. Well, I think mine was rather a bit of a dichotomy kind of. My parents were divorced, and my mom kind of struggled as a single mother, although she did a good job. And it was interesting because a big father figure in my life was my Uncle Bob, who started off incredibly poor as a black man down in South Carolina, and had very little education, married my mother's sister, and came up northeast and became a leading executive with Dell. And as a result of that, it was kind of odd in that there were weeks where we had no oil in our oil tank, so we had no heat. And then the next week I'd be traveling the world with my uncle, and he'd be fitting me for my first suit, or helping me along with the rest of my family to go to really good schools. And so my life was kind of an odd mixture of having boiled hot dogs and then being on the island of Anguilla and having a lot of fun and experiencing that. And so I think it inspired in me both an appreciation for hard work and being able to create any kind of reality that you desire, and also kind of a taste for quality and beautiful things, while also an appreciation for what it takes to get there. So it was an odd upbringing in a way.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that. I actually just cracked open the bottle. I cracked this yesterday, and I had to take a drive out to a small town called St. Clair Shores, and dropped off a little bit of our Highclere Castle Gin to one of our favorite bartenders, Tara. Tara just joined us here on the Man Cave. Hi, Tara.
Hi, Tara.
Hey, Tara.
Cheers.
And Tara's been gracious enough to join us here this evening. She's going to make a few cocktails for us and talk about the creation of said cocktail throughout the show tonight. So, Tara, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So, Adam, you got fitted for your suit, and how did you make your way into the world of spirits, and specifically Highclere Castle?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, interestingly enough, my family had been involved in distilling spirits since the 1800s, and as a matter of fact, we had a legally owned, quite a big successful distillery here in New England that we lost in 1865 because one of my ancestors shipped a few hundred barrels of whiskey up to Canada and tried to avoid paying the federal government the taxes. And so the government decided it was probably best that my family doesn't own a distillery, and they took it away from us. And when you fast forward to Prohibition, here in the center of Connecticut, we had a very prominent and famous speakeasy and a couple ferry boats that would do daily trips from Manhattan to Connecticut, bringing liquor and things to our little speakeasy. And that did very well. So about 10 years ago, I wanted to revive that. And I really got my hands deep into the art of distillation. I traveled all over the country, learning from different distillers and really trying to understand American moonshine and whiskey production. I fell in love with Scotch, and I really just kind of went from the farm and the grain all the way to the glass, and spent about many years there understanding the full art of the craft. And that kind of brought us to a place where about 4 or 5 years ago, I wanted to apply those skills and that network and those people that we got to know. I wanted to apply that to a global brand, and that brings us to Highclere.
Yeah. So, having a great story to share, it really helps to formulate that brand itself, Adam. What was one of the revelations that actually caught you off guard that changed the direction with the product itself? Either the moonshine or Highclere Castle Gin specifically?
Well, I think that, a big thing for me personally with regards to all products, especially lifestyle products like spirits and cigars, is a brand has to have a reason to be. And I say this all the time, and I learned this from an amazing mentor named Mike Donovan in the liquor business. A product has to have a reason to be. We live in an age where so many of our things are produced in a marketing boardroom. And we buy them. And the reason they're produced is for one reason, to sell them and make money.
Right.
And very smart people, granted, their work is not in vain. I understand how business works, and it's an important part of the world. But they don't really exist with soul and depth of person, of soul and passion and reason to be. And so with regards to Onyx and my first spirit line, with regards then to Highclere Castle Cigar, and of course now the Gin, we wanted to celebrate our heritages and what these brands stand for. And the amount of hard work and effort and passion that are put every day into, for example, keeping Highclere Castle alive and running, the amount of work that Lord and Lady Carnarvon put into this, and their amazing team of people is just intense. And what we've done from the beginning of getting into the spirits world, and what we've done in the tobacco space, and our, my partner and friend Nick Malillo, who you guys know, and he's been on before.
Yes.
I mean, to do a product correctly, I don't care if it's in fashion or if it's in spirits or wine, you really kind of have to be all in if you want it to be exceptional, more than just something on the shelf that's for sale. And I think it's taken us some years to figure that out, but I think we figured it out.
Yeah. I'm going to ask a question a little bit later about the bottle itself and the color of it, because, it stands out. The bottle itself really stands. You guys went all in with the bottle. You really did.
Yeah, thank you.
And of course, what's inside of it, too. But I will ask that question a little bit. But I'm curious to know a little bit about what Tara is going to be making for us this evening. Her first cocktail for the night.
My first one?
Yeah.
So my first one, I actually just went through my pantry because I didn't really have time to make a store run to see what I could make.
Okay.
So I have some lime juice. I pretty much always keep fresh lemons and limes in my fridge because I'm always making cocktails at home. So I'm just doing a 1/2 ounce of some fresh lime juice.
Mm-hmm. Look at Jamie. Jamie's got the lime.
I have this
I'm following along.
I have this balsamic glaze. I get it from Salvaggio's, but you can get it from any kind of like specialty market store.
Okay. Is that Anal Salvaggio? that you got it from?
Vino Salvatros is
Nice.
where I got it from. And then you just do the same amount, always equal citrus and equal syrup. So you get a little bit of the vinegar flavor in there, but it's sweet with the sugar they add to make it the glaze. Dump it right into your shaker. I'm building this all in a shaker. I realize you guys kind of can't see that. And then I'm just going to take 2 ounces of the gin. My bottle's not as pretty as your guys', but
Jamie's just pouring his gin directly into his glass.
Yeah.
I'm skipping
did mine
steps.
too.
and then that's it. You're going to add ice, and I strain mine into a cocktail glass.
Mhm.
Sounds delicious.
And when you try a spirit for the first time, you do want to try it, straight up, no
Right.
ice, just you want to go neat the first time. And this will be my first time trying because I've been staring at this bottle now for over a week, and it's been teasing me for the entire week itself. So this will be the first time I get to try Highclere Castle Gin. So
Cheers.
So
cheers,
yeah,
everybody.
you want to look for Matt on the nose. You'll get some real subtle touches of floral note that comes actually from the lavender. The lavender that's used in here is grown at Highclere, and it was actually planted by the bishops of Winchester in the 9th century.
Oh my God! In the
So
9th
it's over
century?
1,000 years old. And Tara, I'm sure what you're doing with the lime helps bring out some of that floral too.
Lavender and lime go really well together.
They do exactly that.
I was doing a little reading about Highclere Castle and the monks. They did a lot. They planted the lavender.
Yes.
The monks did back in the 9th century.
In the 9th century, the property where Highclere is situated now was owned by the bishops of Winchester for many generations, and the monks were there as well. And that's called the Monks' Garden even today. It's a very beautiful old stone wall behind the castle of just beautiful stretches of lavender that have grown there ever since. But even the juniper that you'll get on the nose and on the front side of the flavor, that's been growing wild at Highclere since the Romans occupied the hill behind Highclere called Beacon Hill. And it still grows wild there as well today.
Wow. Oh, that rests really nice on the palate. That really does.
It's pretty. And what Tara did is quite clever by adding and using lime juice and really accenting with things like orange peel or lemon zest and lime. We use quite a bit of citrus in this gin.
Yeah.
And more citrus even than juniper, so people get a lot more citrus on the palate. The reason we do that is because we have the Victorian era orangery is right out back, and Highclere has these beautiful, amazing little oranges about the size of a golf ball. And I swear, when you pop them open in a room and you break the skin, it's like you sprayed the most beautiful perfume around the room.
That's
and
great.
we dry those and we send them north to the distillery to be used in the gin basket.
Excellent. Tara, how'd that cocktail turn out for you?
Good.
Yeah?
Great.
Excellent.
We see the color. Look at that.
That's beautiful.
Very
That's
nice.
beautiful. So real quick, Adam, when you first took your first trip out to Highclere Castle to see Earl Carnarvon and his wife, right?
Yes.
What are some of the botanicals that took you by surprise when you first paid a visit out there?
Well, the first time I went out there to visit, the last thing on my mind was botanicals, because the castle, the estate is so impressive and so moving. The parkland was developed by someone named Capability Brown, a very reputable kind of gardener and parkland designer of the time. And they've designed it in such a way that there are multiple driveways that come up to the castle, and each of them are very, very long. You're talking about Highclere sits at the center of essentially a 5,000-acre estate. So this is a driveway that in Detroit and Connecticut, you would not want to have to plow. I can tell you that. You're certainly not going to shovel it yourself. So, the experience when you go to Highclere, and I urge all of you to, and we hope to host you there when things get back to normal. But the driveway is long, and the way the hills are set, you get to a point at one point where you're coming up along the driveway and the tower appears, and then the whole castle kind of lives. So my impressions when I first arrived were like, this is unlike any structure I've ever seen, and it speaks to beauty and elegance and entertainment and many hundred years of cocktails and all that stuff. Now, of course, once we got to your point, once we got into it and started developing the the gin, we sat down and talked about what are the core flavor profiles and aromas, and what do we want the gin to really represent.
Sure.
Don't forget, gin arrived on England shores in the mid 1600s.
Wow.
It's been there a long, long time, and so the fact is, to leave the library out of the beautiful French doors onto the terrace, take a short walk down into the park, you have every ingredient you need to make an award-winning gin, because it's all right there in the garden, and in very big, beautiful gardens and well-maintained. So that was the inspiration, and we stuck to that principle through the whole recipe design process.
Wow. Thank you for that. I can only, you describe it so incredibly well. I'm just envisioning it, and to pay a visit there would be absolutely astounding and amazing.
We'd love to have you guys. Definitely.
Yeah.
So Adam, you threw out a number there. How many acres is the estate?
It's 5,000 acres.
5,000 acres. Because when I was asking,
just
Matt and I were
couple.
talking.
Just a few.
So Matt and I we were talking about it ahead of time, and it says, made with the finest, Highclere Gardens botanicals, and I'm like, all right, so are there Highclere Gardens like someplace else, or there's like, how big is the estate? I was curious about that. So 5,000 acres, you got room for a lot of gardens. So these are actually legitimately, and I was like, well, they're manufacturing a lot of this gin. How much could they have? So these, all the botanicals come from the estate, from those 5,000 acres.
Well, I can't claim to say that that's quite true.
Okay.
Our
Most of them?
I'm sorry?
Many of them?
Yeah, many of them, as much as we can, and we're actually growing more lavender. We're growing more botanicals on the estate and expanding that.
Mm-hmm.
So we do supplement with other botanicals that are grown in England and some in Central Europe when we run low on supplies. So, but I can guarantee and absolutely attest that there is a decent amount of Highclere in every single bottle. But we do supplement when we have to, because it's a new operation and a new project, and of course we've got to be true too.
No, it's absolutely. So but I love the concept. You'll get people interested in it just because of the Downton Abbey aspect of it. You'll get some immediate fans with that. But as far as a gin goes, this is pretty.
It's very pretty.
Thank you. Well, the last piece of the recipe that I think you guys will find.
I'm not getting any ethanol or burn in it. And yeah, just and the smell is pretty. I wasn't picking up lavender. I'm not. Matt and I are still working on our palates.
Yeah, novice over here.
And that's part of what we
Self-proclaimed.
do.
Well, so
And
you guys are traditionally you're whiskey guys, yeah?
lean more towards that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll love this piece of the story. It's the last component to the recipe, and I have to give all the credit on this to Lord Carnarvon, because he absolutely nailed it with this. So we're up in Birmingham at the distillery, and we're distilled in England's oldest gin distillery, by the way, called Langley. And we had done 24 recipe iterations over the course of a year. And
24.
we were like,
wow.
we were like so happy. It was so close to being perfect. It was like 99%. But it was missing something that I look for in spirits and wines that I really like, and in spirits that I've distilled before. I like a very long, velvety, smooth, 10-second long, nearly chewable finish. That's important to me. I find it very rare. It's a hard find in spirits, and I look for it. And for me, it's the test of a spirit that's operating at this level of quality here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so we didn't have it. We had everything. The balance was right. It was delicate. It was luxurious. It did well in cocktails. Tara, as you can see, it does well straight, but it was missing that whiskey finish that I like. And and I like to drink my spirits on the rocks. For the most part, I mean, I love a gin and tonic and cocktails, but I'm a on the rocks or neat guy myself. And so Lord Carnarvon said, why don't we use the Highclere oats? Now, Highclere is rather well known for the oats they grow. They sell them to thoroughbred racehorse circles.
Oh, wow.
Actually, they're quite famous as some of the best oats in the world for racehorse. And I thought to myself, well, that's going to do nothing. I mean, he's throwing oats in a gin basket with botanicals is not going to affect the flavor. It makes no sense. But I said, well, why not? Let's give it a shot. And we did it. And my God, he hit it on the head. And And again, I've been distilling for 10 years, and I saw no science in this at all. And when we did this, it just made it blossom. And that's why you get, when you taste it neat right now, Matt, you're doing neat as well, Jamie, I think.
Yep.
You get that like long, chewable, velvety, smooth finish on it. And that's from those oats. The oils in the oats add a touch of that cereal flavor that we as whiskey customers really just love. And what we're finding now throughout the U.S., we're hearing from a whole bunch of whiskey people that are saying, oh my God, I'm drinking your gin on the rocks. It's the first time I've ever enjoyed gin in my life.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool to hear that.
No, you were talking about, that 10-second feel, the legs, when I'm looking at this in the glass, the legs on this are incredible. They're just hanging. They're hanging in there. They really are.
Exactly that.
It's amazing. I poured it into a martini style glass to try it neat, and I'm noticing that it is just, the legs are just, they just stay. It's that ring from where I drank down. It is still there. Those oils are still just hanging out of that glass, and that is happening. I took a little bit of lime. I just cut a piece of lime and I squeezed it in there, and it's bringing out a lot of sweet, actually.
Yeah.
Now that I'm tasting it, I put it and I threw a little wedge in there, a couple of drops of that lime. It's a lot sweeter now. That kind of surprised me, that adding the lime in there. Tara, what am I doing? Am I messing up? Adding lime in?
No, I like it by itself. So many people won't drink gin because they associate it with having that pine flavor. I can never get people to drink it. I can't tell you how many times I will have a cocktail and people are like, can I just get it with vodka? And 90% of the time, if you ask me, I'm still going to give you gin.
Right.
And then they end up liking it, and then they thank me. But it's really good for getting people to try it on its own. You just have to talk them into it.
Yeah. I think we're seeing a lot of consumers that have been, vodka drinkers, and they're looking for something a little bit more intense and flavorful and more of a flavor experience, but they're not quite ready to jump into a bottle of Lafroig and experience Scotland's best. And I feel like gin is really a wonderful bridge because it has the complexities and the art of true distillation, but it's also not quite formidable and intimidating. And it's in many ways, in a way, it's a very naturally flavored vodka. If you think about it, it really kind of is. I mean, we use an organic English wheat base for our gin. So it's in many ways it really just kind of is, and it's not vodka with just some strawberry flavoring and food coloring. It's the real thing. It's a real proper London dry gin, but people are learning.
Yeah. So Adam, you're stateside, and tell me a little bit about the how you came up with the research that you did to finally reach out to the Earl to talk to him about creating a new gin.
Well, I have been traveling to England for 25 years. My wife went to university there for a while. And every time I've ever gone there, it felt a lot to me like going home in a very weird way. It's a country that we've always loved. And I'm approximately half English or something like that anyway. We go back there a ways. And I felt a connection to the place and to the people. And so it's always been on my radar. And my wife got me into the show Downton Abby, which is, of course, one of the things that propelled Highclere Castle to kind of global fame. And I was looking with my business partner, Pete, I was looking to do the next brand after our small state distillery that we did here. And
was Moonshine, wasn't it?
That's Onyx Moonshine, exactly, in our secret stash whiskey. And I wanted to create a brand that had such a level of heritage and pedigree to it that it was like unmistakably unique. And when you walk into a liquor store, I mean, let's face it, and many of these brands, by the way, are good and I drink them myself, but 95% of this stuff is designed in a marketing boardroom, and it's just there for one reason, the stock market or whatever, it's just there for that. And I really wanted to bring to the table a spirit that could win so many awards, that could have a reach back in history that goes back hundreds of years, have enough estate and land tied to it that we could create the product from the estate. We had quite a checkbox. And I spent about a year looking, by the way.
A year?
And about a year. I was looking for a year with talking to different people, traveling and pondering and having ideas and stuff. And it wasn't until my wife forced me to watch Downton Abbey. And I found, forced. It was definitely a forcing.
Oh, yeah.
And
Fair.
I fell in love with the show, and I just had this crazy idea to reach out to the castle. And I just, one random night I did, and Lord Carnarvon called me the very next day, and we spent maybe an hour on the phone. And then 2 weeks later, I was on a plane with my wife heading to Highclere for a long weekend. Wow. And we spent the whole time talking about the important things of life, you know, family and friends, and why get out of bed in the morning, and what does it mean to make brands, and what Highclere is all about, and the people that represent and make up the estate and have been there many generations working it, farming it proudly, and all these kind of things. And I fell even more head over heels in love there. And Lady Carnarvon now calls it, it's a love affair between America and England, and it very much is.
Yeah. So
the Carnarvons are, I mean, they're just charming people. They host these events on Facebook, and I chimed in when they did one just on last Friday. It just amazing. They just, I feel it. They just open up the castle and let people in, and I could see you had a good idea, and I can just see him just opening the doors and bringing you in. That totally comes across, and I think that's like something that's gonna to help your brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Carnarvons are they seem like a riot.
They are a riot, and you know, one of the things that was important to me too from the beginning is I didn't want to do a licensing deal. I didn't want Downton Abbey on the front of this bottle.
Right.
And I didn't want to just pay a royalty to somebody to use a thing. I really wanted founding partners that wanted to also be brand ambassadors and had the passion and the heart that I have and that my team has to bring this to life. And I fell equally in love with Lord and Lady Carnarvon. They're very much like family, and they're the greatest friends, and they're kind people. And they're also incredibly hardworking. I was impressed, you know, as a lifelong American entrepreneur. I think a lot of Americans, and even some Brits, maybe see the aristocracy over in England as kind of they must just kind of hang out and drink champagne all day, and there's nothing to do, and it's just kind of the money's flowing, and that's not the case. So they've got such immense responsibility to keep the legacy and the traditions going that represent so much of what makes England special. And these two, especially during coronavirus, these two are working 12 hours a day. They're busting their hump to keep that estate rolling while many employees are furloughed. So the work ethic I see in them and what they've brought to the table, of course, with the launch of Highclere Castle Gin, I mean, it is in every way a true partnership. And Jamie, you've recognized it exactly. They're down to earth. They're a lot of fun. They're gracious hosts. And they definitely know how to throw a good party.
I like it. All right, so I cleared out my glass and I poured a fresh pour and I put ice in it. So I got it on the rocks this time, and the floral's back. But it's not flowery.
Yes.
I'm getting that a lot of the floral in the nose. And now that it's watered with the ice, it's watered down a little bit. It lingers just a little, not quite as long as it did when it was, you know, just straight, but still hanging in there. And yeah, it's just the floral is very nice. It's I'm
Jamie,
liking the rocks.
Jamie, you went straight up ice cube. I just put a few drops of water in mine, and that really opened it up quite a bit more. And I really got more floral out of it when I just did a few drops of water. Now that really opened it up. Open the oils up a little bit more.
Yeah, it does. It does nicely.
Yeah.
Floral's so hard because it can go two ways. If you use even the slightest bit too much of floral, you almost get that soapy flavor. So for you to nail it and have it be so smoothly floral without getting that, it's really great.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be biting into grandma's lavender soap.
Right.
So let me brag for Tara for a second. She works at a place in the Detroit club called the Library, and it's one of the higher end, classy cocktail places in the city. The cocktail culture is blowing up everywhere. Detroit is no different, and Tara is one of the players in Metro Detroit. We love you. And and so we love you. And I was going to dive into a personal life, but I'm not going to do that. You get friends on Facebook, and then you get bits of information, and then I don't want to be wrong. So anyway, did you update your relationship status?
She did.
Okay, fair play. All right. Because that girl should not be single. That's all I'm saying. So, but, that aside, she's one of the magnificent bartenders, and our city has a lot of magnificent bartenders. And the Detroit Club in the library inside the Detroit Club where she works right now, when it opens up again, is one of those magnificent places. And this is something that'll fit right into that culture. Ethan,
Yes.
It's kind of your job to get places like the Detroit Club to carry this. So gin? Is it a challenge to place a gin over, say, right now a bourbon? Because bourbon is everybody's just ass crazy for bourbon, and vodka. Vodka is kind of a staple. Is gin a challenge? And what's the challenge you're facing with Highclere?
For us here, and as you nailed it, the cocktail scene has been blowing up over the last several years. And gin itself is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, but is the fastest growing premium spirit in the U.S.
In the world.
In the world.
Wow.
All right, I'll shut up then.
so that is helping. And Adam, it was kind of, you started this 4 years ago, and it was really before gin was. I mean, it was just starting to get rolling. And so I think we're hitting an uptick there, and it helps that we have a wonderful gin, and getting people like Tara to try it. The gin speaks for itself. It like we talked about, it's amazing neat. It's great on the rocks, and it makes a great cocktail.
You launched
Well
in the
said,
UK.
well said, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
it's neat to see it growing so fast. This has been now almost 5 years in development.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we only launched 6 months ago.
Yeah, in the U.S. You launched in the UK in 2017, I want to say.
No, that was the cigar.
The cigar. Okay.
I was going to talk about the chicken or the egg. What came first? The cigar or the gin?
That's a neat story, actually. So I was not in the cigar business at all. Well, let me correct that. I was an avid cigar purchaser. And
Full
that's
disclosure,
fact,
yeah.
the only reason I'm in the cigar business is because Nick Melillo is a dear friend of mine. And so what happened was I realized at some point 3 years ago, that this gin project was going to cost a lot of resources and time and effort to make it right. Doing a brand launch this big is an immense amount of energy and a lot of people to do it properly. Whereas Nick, of course, had the new Foundation Cigar Company, knew at the time that he was setting up after an amazing career in the cigar trade going back 20 years, and just a leader and world-renowned cigar blender. And we had enjoyed many spirits together, Myonics and whiskeys and his cigars. And I realized, and I swear to God, I have all my best ideas in the shower. I said to myself, Highclere also lends itself very well to a cigar. I mean, Winston Churchill was a very good friend of Lord Carnarvon's grandfather. And he was a frequent visitor, and he had his cigar hanging out of his mouth like in every photo. And they've been having cigars and gin there for 200 years. I mean, the nation of Canada was created in the library of Highclere over cigars. Wow. So, I mean, a real reach back to when cigars first arrived in England and were kind of the symbol of the gentleman before it became a symbol of everybody to enjoy. It was a part of the culture there. And so I rang Nick up one day and I said, I have a crazy idea. I know you're very busy launching Foundation and the Way Wednesday cigar and all of your things, but would you care to partner with me to do a Highclere Castle cigar? And he said, well, why do you want to do it? And I said, because I think it would be fun. And I think it makes sense, and the brand should be, and it's a great precursor to our spirit launch. And I was lucky in that he said yes. And about a month later, I'm on a plane with Lord Carnarvon to the jungles of Nicaragua and Esteli.
Oh my God.
And we're in there smoking all these different, I mean, Nick has access to some of the finest and rarest tobacco in the world.
Wow.
Stuff that celebrities can't get their hand on when they want to slap their name on a label and do a cigar line. He's got real access to stuff.
Nice.
And thus you have the Highclere Castle cigar. This was about a year after concept we launched this. And we've won, I mean, just amazing awards. And there you go. There's the beautiful band right there.
Yep.
And we just came out with the Highclere Castle Victorian, which is also getting ridiculous awards and finding a great following. And I'm very proud to say that Ethan is involved with us with that as well. And obviously Rob is our number 3 customer in the world.
Thanks for joining us, Rob.
Hey.
Free cigars, all it takes.
So
that's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah. Adam, tell me a little bit about the bottle itself, the Highclere Castle Gin. I want to go back to the gin real quick. The bottle itself, the color of this bottle is so incredibly unique. You don't see that when you walk into a liquor store. You don't see this. This pops. This stands out when you walk into a liquor store. Where did this color concept come from?
Thank you for. I appreciate that you speak of it that way, because you're talking about a small fortune and a lot of time. So when people do appreciate the lengths that we've gone through to do this, you're all outside right now. Tara, you're inside, it looks like. Mm-hmm. The beauty of the bottle, first of all, is we wanted it to be understated and elegant at the same time. Again, modern marketing is flash, flash, flash. And then there's stuff that's kind of got no personality. It's just a label. We wanted to be something that really represented the British understated representation of elegance. And to do that, again, we looked at the estate. Mm-hmm. Purple, through history, since the ancient Roman times, has always represented nobility. Right. The Roman senators would have a purple stripe on their togas. The reason why is it was always very difficult and expensive to manifest purple in garments.
Clergy.
The clergy, exactly.
Yeah.
The bishops of Winchester, exactly that were at Highclere. Purple was that color. And of course, the lavender that we use, a nod to that in the garden. Mm-hmm. Most colors that you see in the world, in products and things, comes from a Pantone color palette, what's called Pantone color palettes. Mm-hmm. We insisted on a custom color. So some of the interesting colors you see on brands in the world, they tend to be customized, like Veuve Orange, for example. So we wanted to have a color that was unreplicable. It's our own exact design. Yeah. And we also wanted to change in different lighting. So if you're in the daytime like you guys are, if you're inside and it's very dark, it can almost appear black. And then if the light hits just right, it'll glow purple like a gemstone. And of course the bottle, as you probably noted, Jamie, Matt, it's a very soft touch to it, like a velvet almost. Yeah. So all these little details we spent a lot of time on to make sure that they were perfect, because from the moment you pick the bottle up, we want it to feel as noble as the heritage of Highclere is. Yeah. Heavy and rock solid, understated and elegant. And I think we achieved that well. And I really appreciate that you guys notice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's astounding. Even the barcode.
I was going to say the barcode.
It mimics the silhouette of the castle. So well played. Well played on the barcode as well. So welcome to America. People like to tell you what to do with your life and your labels and your bottles. And thank you, government, for getting involved in our lives. So what did you want on the label, on the bottle? And I know bourbons and whiskey. It's a bloody nightmare. It's a London Dry gin. So what is it telling me that it says it's a London Dry gin? What does that tell me? And what's the government telling you got to do with what you're putting on the label?
Yeah. So the U.S. TTB requirements for London Dry have their own set of rules. These are the kind of things that I will memorize and fully understand in the moment of approval, and then I promptly forget.
Fair play.
It does not belong on my desktop for long. No. I wish I could tell you, because I did that matter like 2 years ago, and then I immediately erased it from my life.
Oh, God, yeah.
But I can tell you that from a London Dry gin, it is distilled in the typical London Dry method. It is distilled in England. And we fit all the requirements for what that means in our ratios of flavor and the style and methods of distillation. All that stuff means it's very much made in the traditional London Dry style.
Did you have?
about the bottle. I like it because it's something a lot of bartenders will get behind a bottle that they appreciate and feel that work has gone into. You know, nowadays there's so many options, and if we're going to put something on our back bar, we want it to be something that we truly believe in. So I have a very small bar, and I have to pick and choose what I carry very carefully. So I make sure it is only products that I like from the inside out, from the flavor to the bottle to the look, everything. So I do appreciate that part of it.
Thank you for saying that. And more importantly, Tara, I really appreciate that you have volunteered to fill 1/3 of your Highclere Castle Gin. That just means the world to me.
Hey, Tara. So this is a handsome. Because the places I've seen you pour in a couple different bars, and there's just a feel. And these craft cocktail bars, there's a feel. There's a swankiness to them, and it's got to work, right? You know, you're not pulling the 5 o'clock vodka off and pouring it, right? So I'm going to guess this would work at your bar. So the bottle's going to work. What's the next cocktail? Did you have another concoction you came up with?
Actually, I do. So when Matt dropped the gin off last night, I set some aside because I wanted to do 2 shaken cocktails. And one that was creative, but one that was a little bit of a variation on a classic. So I'm going to do kind of a riff on a jasmine cocktail. So I have some lemon juice, and I'm just doing a 1/2 ounce of some lemon juice. And then some Cointreau.
Nice cube.
Ooh.
And I'm just going to do the same thing, 1/2 ounce of some Cointreau. And then Campari, because Campari is my favorite. I go through a lot of this.
Good stuff.
Quarantine has started. I've bought more bottles than most people, I'm sure. And I do 3/4 ounces in mine because I like it a little bitter. So when I was reading about the gin yesterday, the botanicals in it, I set some aside in a little container, but I threw a bag of oolong tea in there because I love bitter, and I love the way that oolong pairs with lavender. It almost complements it.
Yeah.
You're a big oolong fan, are you not, Tara?
I am.
Yeah. I appreciate that about you.
I do use that a lot. I guess I didn't realize that I put oolong in so much
it's a
of my
great way to
stuff.
go.
So I let it sit overnight, and then I'm just going to do 1.5 ounces of that because I want it to be super gin forward, and you get a lot of the oolong, and everything else just kind of be a complement to it.
Sounds delicious.
And then that's it. I'm just going to shake it, and I serve it up in a cocktail glass. 1 second. I'm touching my ice with my hands. Do not judge me for that.
You're the only one drinking it, so go for it.
Yeah, right.
Just don't touch your face. You're all right.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh, that sound. I so miss being out in public.
So, because Adam, what she's done, they had just done like a cocktail contest on the Carnarvons did on the Facebook page, I do believe. I want to talk about that because I was going to tell Tara about it, and I was like, oh my god, I got to. And it was like an hour or two from the deadline. I'm like, crap, I'm not going to bugger. I hope you're doing.
That's normal for most bartenders, though. Let me tell you. We are submitting cocktails right down to the last minute.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Actually, we're doing another one right now, so I'm not sure if we posted it yet on Facebook, but it will be going live. We're for the next cocktail party, which is not this Friday, but the following Friday, on the Highclere Castle Gin Facebook page. We're doing another virtual cocktail party with Lord and Lady Carnarvon at the castle. This one will be hosted in the Renee, where are we hosting this one?
Smoking room.
In the smoking room, which is Lord Carnarvon's father and grandfather's favorite room. It's a little more low key that much of the public doesn't get into. And last time we did pick Lord Carnarvon's cocktail. This time we're doing pick Lady Carnarvon's cocktail. So if you goes onto our page and submits a cocktail recommendation, we're going to pick one of those, and we're going to have Louis the Butler make that cocktail for Lady Carnarvon to enjoy. And,
all right.
Of course, we'll promote the bartender too, Tara. So please do throw something in the bag for us.
I will, for sure.
Adam, since you know Lady Carnarvon better than any of us, can you help Tara? Maybe tell her some of the flavor profiles. Let's help her win. You want to mix
let's stack this deck, baby.
let's cheat a little bit here.
Well, we're all. I think we're all in this together in a way because we're lovers of history. So anytime you dig back into kind of the real old school stuff, we're all intrigued a bit by that. As a matter of fact, Lady Carnarvon, I was there some months ago, and she had found in the archives of the castle these beautiful little handwritten notes in this beautiful script that was written by the previous butler from the 1920s. And that back then they didn't have fancy names for cocktails. It was called the dry martini or the sweet cocktail or the gin cocktail. They were very simple. But we've gotten a lot of inspiration. And Highclere actually still serves cocktails the same way today. And we have them listed on our website, on Highclere Castle Gin's website. So you can actually go there and see them. But Tara, if you did any digging into some neat old kind of stuff that's elusive, old kind of story cocktails, I think this helps.
I can do that.
Please do.
Fantastic.
That's bitter.
The cocktail's a little bit bitter, but that's because it is actually really pretty. It matches my hair quite well.
It does.
You did that on purpose. You know you did.
Right. But I like super bitter cocktails.
Yeah.
Fair.
Bitter can be a lot of fun.
Yes.
I mean, Campari's a killer.
Yeah.
So what? Excuse my ignorance. So what is Campari? What flavor does that add?
It's an aperitif. It's an Italian aperitif, but it's more. You get a little bit of sweetness from it, but more bitter, and it just pairs so well with everything. I put it with gin. I drink it with bourbon, with tequila. Like there's nothing I've not put Campari in. I drink it by itself a lot.
A lot.
It does get the appetite going, and it makes you hungrier. And after you're done eating, it helps with digestion, so you can eat more.
Right.
I like it.
So, Adam, you guys launched in the U.S. August of last year?
Yeah, approximately August.
So how are things coming along so far? People can find Highclere on your website. Can they go onto the website and type in, their zip code and then find out where they can find the Highclere?
I wish I could say it was that easy. We're actually, now coronavirus, of course, has forced us to get a little bit more clever about how we're doing that.
Sure.
So we're going to have a website relaunch in the next 3 or 4 weeks that will have an easier function to search for online direct-to-home delivery.
Okay.
But right now we're available in 25 states. The states are listed on our Facebook page at the top and on our website. And if you're in the UK and Europe, it's a little easier to order through Waitrose, Sellers, or Amazon UK, which has a little bit more relaxed online liquor shipping rules. So in the US, we're in 25 states. We had, and on caskers.com, by the way, most people in the US could get it on caskers.com online, CASKERS.
Yep.
But, our plans were a little bit interrupted like the rest of the world, right? I mean, we were in the middle of to be honest, launching in restaurants and wonderful cocktail menus like Tara's around the country. We were doing this for the first time because it's gin and tonic season, and that was interrupted by Corona. And I'm not going to complain because every single one of us is in the exact same boat. Yeah. And many restaurants have been shut and now just coming back to work partially or whatever. So, we're all in the boat together, and now it's about figuring out how do we reopen, how do we get back to business in a healthy, successful way, and we're really planning to go really deep in the markets that are super important to us, of which Michigan is a top 10 one. So we're doing a 10 market focus back to life. That's where we're going. That's where Lord and Lady Carnarvon are coming to when we get back to business, Michigan. And we're going to spend a lot of time taking care of the bartenders and the restaurants and liquor stores that get it.
Yep. Live tasting events. You guys going to be doing putting those together as well? Is that something that's on the repertoire right now?
You mean what do you mean by that, Matt?
Live tastings. People come and you invite folks in and they get to taste the Highclere Castle Gin for the first time, or at a specific their favorite watering hole, or a place like the Library Club. Live tastings.
Yeah, definitely. That's an important thing for us. So are dinner pairings and supporting the bars with events and things like that. It's just hard to plan right now because everything is so in motion that we can't get dates on the schedule. And so here I am in my man cave you know, what we call the Adventurers Lounge, and I guess we're kind of doing it virtually for now.
So it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And when it does happen, you know, we would love to be a part of that. The Man Cave would love to be a part of that in Michigan, in Detroit. And, you know, we just want to continue to check in with you, you know, every once a quarter, once every 6 months, just to see how things are coming along.
Oh, yeah.
And just love to, I love having a conversation with you guys. Really do.
I appreciate that. And, you know, I was in Michigan for my first time as a result of Rob and Ethan and Kep. And I've really fallen in love with the state and the people. I mean, even the restaurants I've been to, the culture, the bars that I've popped into with these guys showing me around, and you know, it's a really magical place, and I think it's got a lot going on. And I'm not sure a lot of the country realizes that, and I'm really proud to put it on our top 10 list of places where we want to spend our energy for Highclere Castle Gin. And so I can tell you for a fact that Lord and Lady Carnarvon were excited to be there literally 2 weeks ago, and we had to cancel that trip. But we will be there as soon as possible, and I can't wait to jump into the market and meet more people and engage. Have you guys, let's broadcast somewhere amazing. Rob and Ethan have some really cool ideas for where we can do some very sexy, exclusive events. And Tara, of course, we're going to do a thing at her place because she just committed to putting 3 of our cocktails on our menu.
I will say this, it would work out because we also have a cigar bar.
Oh, there you go.
So what do we need to, so Tara, I'm going to get your information from Matt and Jamie, and we'll be in touch on how to support you guys. And I mean this.
Yeah,
how to
for
support
sure.
you guys. Are you back open and functioning full on yet?
No, we're not. Right now, we're looking at August at the latest. So they were using this time to kind of make some small updates to the club.
Okay.
We have a hotel and a spa. So right now we have 10 hotel rooms, and they were adding 10 more.
I see.
So once construction is up and moving, then we'll be back open.
So would you allow me to hire you to design a custom cocktail for us?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's
I
done.
would love to.
All right, cool. So we'll get in touch with Matt and Jamie with your info.
You know, Adam, I want to.
You guys have Tara's email address?
Absolutely, we do, and I want to share also that, you know, another friend of ours of the Man Cave, Nick Britsky, he actually created a website. It's called Go Tip 'em, and it's represented across the entire country, every state in the U.S. And people can actually go in and tip their favorite bartender. All the bartender has to do is go in and put in their information, and then when you pour a drink at home, you can then go on to Go Tip 'em and tip your bartender.
That's awesome.
So, you know, and that's represented across the entire country. So, you know, please find Tara, and we'll definitely connect you there. But, you know, people care about their bartenders. They really, really do. So,
yeah, Tara, we're not even going to try the last name, but just say it so people can find you on Go Tip 'em.
Jay Gazinski.
All right, so people, if you can see if you're seeing, look in the Zoom, look at the spelling of her name. Yeah, it's Flanagan, but you know, Zhirkovsky is my other side. So.
I got an Andrzejewski somewhere floating around. So.
Somewhere there. All right, good stuff. So this is I went with while we were chit chatting there. I did up a gin and tonic. Man, this is the new staple for the deck. I'm thinking right here.
Oh yeah, little hot tub action there for you, Jamie.
I got the.
And Matt, as you're sipping it neat, I mean, how are you experiencing it through the whole glass?
I did it neat to begin with. Then I actually added a little bit of water. Then I did a full ice cube, and it gets better and better, and it opens it up that much more. It's sitting right on the back of my throat, right in my palate, and it's just coating it so nicely. And it is, and the legs are still there. It's incredible. Even after I'm done, the legs are still there, and I keep going back because the legs keep going further down the glass. So
amazing. And how are you guys both, Jamie as well? How are you finding the cigar? How's it smoking?
It was smoking quickly to start, and I was like a little worried. I'm like, oh crap, I'm gonna be done with the cigar before the show's over. It is. It's almost. It's going well with the cocktail. So
yes, it's a great pairing. It really is. And you know, I will dive into the Victorian soon enough, but this has just been incredible. It really has.
The Victorian may be a bit intense to pair with the gin, but the Edwardian it's just such a lovely pairing with the pistachio notes and the leather and the bit of white chocolate and white pepper. It's a really good flavor pairing.
Is that what I'm getting on my lip right here? Is that pepper? Is that what I'm getting?
White pepper coming off the cigar. Yeah, it's really well designed by Nick. Exactly.
You called it leather, and I'm so, susceptible to suggestions. I was feeling something natural. I was like, there's something, natural, not raw, but natural, a flavor. I couldn't put it, and then you said a leather. I'm like, oh, hey, it's leather.
Nick is amazing with how he designs his flavors too. And if you look for it, close your eyes, you'll get some of that. So what we wanted to do with the cigar is, my inspiration for the cigar was Highclere's library in the afternoon before the fire is lit. Smells like 150 years of fires that have been lit and 5,000 antique books. So if you can imagine the smell of 150 years of fireplace out in the morning and 5,000 leather books dating back to the 1500s. That's the way the library at Highclere smells, where all the gentlemen have always smoked their cigars. So I wanted to capture that aroma and flavor, that depth of kind of like that ancient architecture and the woods and the varnishes and the polish and the leather and the fireplace. And of course, Nick pulled it off with leather and hay and white pepper and all those flavors, because he's got an impeccable ability to blend.
So I don't smoke cigars. I do, like most people, enjoy the smell of them, or I like to read about them and learn all the flavors that people have put in them. So if you come to the club, we have the House Manhattan that I have on the menu. We smoke with a cigar. So usually I try to change it up by the month, and I will usually go for something that has a flavor that I know will really pick up on the bourbon. Yeah. But that would be a cool set of flavors to play with.
That's great.
See why we brought her in?
That's awesome.
You know your stuff, sure.
I just top notch. I just I like to brag about my house. My house, it's for being in the States here, is kind of old. It's 1831.
Yeah, that's old. Yeah.
And so we got it's the fireplace when we have fires. And I've been looking for a book. I'm trying to get my hands on a book. I got a piece of Byron, and I know it's early 1900s, but it's not into the 1800s. But I want to get a couple of books to have closer to that. I'm an English major. I teach high school. It's one of my other existences. So when you're talking about the smell of books and the fire, that's my wife won't let me smoke in the living room, but that's why I'm out on the deck smoking. But
we can't. Unfortunately, we can't smoke in the library at Highclere anymore either, because the books are so rare that it's not allowed. But what we do is we open the French doors and we stand 2 feet out on the stone terrace and we look at the book.
Yeah.
So I would love to have a chat with Lord Carnarvon and just the stories of the castle. Nick shared one with us that one of Lord Carnarvon's ancestors helped fund the King Tut expedition. And from what I understand, in the basement, there's replicas of Tut's tomb. It's just mind-blowing. The castle is just the layers.
The layers are amazing, and they go on forever. I mean, so this is Lord Carnarvon's great-grandfather. This was the 6th Earl of Carnarvon, and he was an interesting guy. He was basically buying the very first cars that were available, and he was racing them like a madman around the estate, constantly wrecks. And so what he did was, the doctor said, you're repairing from some of your injuries, and this damp, cold English weather is not good for you. You should go somewhere where it's warm and dry. So he goes to Cairo, and he was always a man like so many of the men of the Victorian age. He was a sense of adventure, a bit of kind of exploration. The ancient Egyptian thing was so new at the time, really. Yeah, Napoleon and them found something, but it was still kind of that era, that age of discovery. And so we said, well, I'm going to stay in Cairo, and I'm going to put some of my effort, some of my money towards helping to fund some searches. And they searched for years, and they found very little. And then right before he was about to pull the plug, Howard Carter, his partner in crime over there, the archaeologist, discovered the tomb of King Tutankhamun. And there's a very famous quote out there, and it's significant because this is the first global media story ever in the world. So he opens the door and he looks inside, and Lord Carnarvon says, "What do you see?" And Howard Carter shines the lantern through this little hole that they've kind of knocked through, and he says, "Wonderful things." And it's the glint of gold shining off the lantern light, and this became a global news story. It was the first one ever, and it wasn't too long after that Lord Carnarvon died, actually starting the whole kind of idea of the curse of King Tut's tomb. And so in the basement there today, they have Lord and Lady Carnarvon have created the most amazing exhibit with, I believe it's argued to be one of the most accurate reproductions of King Tut's sarcophagus in the world.
The castle is just like, and I'm not, I saw the movie, being an English teacher, the movie was coming out, and I do radio here in the city, and there was like a press screening of the movie, and I asked a couple of the English teacher girls that I work with, girls, I'm such a sexist, some of them girls over there, it's like, ladies, I go, there's a screening of this, Downton Abbey movie. You guys want to go? And they all lost their minds, and they're like, yeah, So we all went and enjoyed it thoroughly, and I picked up on it. But just the stories behind the castle is just the things attached to it. I'm just astounded by the whole thing. We're an hour in already, man.
Yes, time flies. It really does.
I want to keep going. We could go hours.
Yes, but you know what? We're going to save it for later because there's so much that we can get into. And having you come back, Adam, and Ethan and Rob and Tara, having you guys back on the Man Cave would be absolutely amazing. Follow up. Get some more stories about about Highclere Castle Gin, how things are coming along. Of course, the castle itself. There's so much more to be discussed, and cannot thank you enough all for your time tonight on the Man Cave Happy Hour podcast. Really.
That is, Adam, what is the website for Highclere Castle?
It's highclarecastlegin.com, H-I-G-H, Claire, C-L-E-R-E, castlegin.com. And you can look for us on Facebook, too. All of your listeners are most welcome, you guys as well. I hope you'll join us for our virtual cocktail party coming up at the castle, hosted by Lord and Lady Carnarvon. Not this Friday, but the one right after. It's now the biggest virtual cocktail party in the world. We're hoping that everyone will join us for that. Submit some cocktails. Tara, you'll join us for that. And I really appreciate your interest and your passion for spirits and cigars, guys. It's a lovely honor to be on. And Ethan, thanks for helping to make it happen.
Oh, this was excellent. I thank my brother James for suggesting Matt in his podcast, and want to throw this out there because I think Great Lakes Wine and Spirits is our distributor here in Michigan, and it's done a good job of getting it out to a lot of the local liquor stores. Obviously we had a kind of the halt with the Corona for the on premise, but the off premise. Check your local liquor stores. If they don't have it, ask for it because Great Lakes Wine and Spirits can get it for them. And
our guy Art Lokar, who's in Michigan, he's an amazing brand representative that's representing us through the state as well. And between Art and Ethan and Rob and Kevin and the whole Navigate Oak family, we're doing some fun things. So
absolutely,
Sarah, I can't wait to see a third of your bar covered in purple.
I can't wait to come visit, smoke a cigar there at the library there at the Detroit Club, and have a Highclere Gin cocktail. So I'm excited.
And hopefully within a year's time, Matt, Jamie, Tara, we can have you guys to Highclere to do a broadcast from there. But in the meantime, we'll come out to you. I can't wait to get back to Michigan and hopefully bring Lord or Lady Carnarvon with me.
Absolutely.
We'll make it happen. Thank you.
Be our honor. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time, everybody. Appreciate it. And hey, we end the Man Cave. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Clinks. Virtual clinks. Yes.
Virtual clinks.